Good morning. We're going to start in a few seconds. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the American Heart Association, I would like to welcome you to today's Advancing Maternal Health Patient Provider Virtual Connection Forum. This event is made possible through the American Heart Association's Advancing Maternal Health initiative, supported by Merck for Mothers. Merck's global initiative is to help create a world where no woman has to die while giving life. We encourage you to visit the website at the link in the chat to learn more. Before we begin, I would like to quickly review how to use this platform for today's event. If you experience any technical difficulties, most user issues can be resolved by refreshing your browser. If that does not work, please review the system requirements or contact the Zoom webinar helpline. To access live closed captioning, please click on the closed caption button found on your screen. This forum will be recorded and available on the Advancing Maternal Health website within the coming weeks. PDFs of some presentations may be available on the Zoom event platform on the sessions page. Attendees will not automatically move from one session to the next in Zoom events. To join each session, you will need to navigate back to the lobby and go to the Sessions tab to join the next session. We will also be posting direct join links to the next session in the chat to ease transitions. I also wanted to take a moment to remind you that the recommendations and opinions presented by our guest speakers may not represent the official position of the American Heart Association. The materials are for educational purposes only and do not constitute endorsement or instruction by the Heart Association. The American Heart Association does not endorse any product or device. Here are your co-hosts for today's forum from the American Heart Association, Alize Rizvi, and myself, Anna Pilata. We now welcome you to our first session titled The Power of Lived Experience, Navigating Postpartum Cardiovascular Events. This session centers the lived experience of a patient who has navigated a cardiovascular event during the postpartum period, offering a first-hand perspective on care seeking, recovery, and ongoing health needs after delivery. Today's speaker is Monet Nance. Monet is a wife, devoted mother of two girls, chef, and accomplished catering entrepreneur, known for curating elevated culinary experiences. Beyond her work in hospitality, she is deeply rooted in service, consistently showing up for her community through outreach and by providing meals to those in need. Her full bio is available in the lobby. With that, I will turn it over to you, Monet. Monet, I think you were on mute. I think you're still on mute. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Anna, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Monet Nance, and I'll just start giving a brief, baseline about my health prior to my postpartum preeclampsia. So prior to, I was, healthy and, worked out a few times a week. At the time, I was a mother of one. She was 2 years old at the time. Um, I think in pregnancy I had a few complications in pregnancy, not directly related to cardiovascular health, but I did have a placenta previa and but no pre-existing high blood pressure issues, diabetes issues, none of the above. Um, Around 34 weeks, because my doctor decided to induce me because of the placenta previa, around 34 weeks, I presented with a blood pressure of around 130 over 80, which isn't severely high, but it's high for me because my baseline pressure is typically around 117 over maybe 75. They weren't concerned. I will say in the previous pregnancy, I did have gestational hypertension at 41 and a half weeks. So, so moving on around, like I said, 35 weeks, presented with the blood pressure, all of my tests for preeclampsia and protein in the urine, they were negative. So my provider didn't really have room for concern. Everything went well. We had a scheduled C-section. I gave birth at around 35 weeks. Everything was fine. Baby was fine. She did spend 2 days in the NICU due to her being a little premature, but everything was fine. I didn't have any high readings in the hospital. All was well. Go home, spent 2 days in the hospital after delivering. I went home, and around day 4 home, I presented with a headache. Now, it didn't feel like the worst headache of my life, like it was kind of explained to me prior to. I just felt kind of off. Again, I didn't really know how severe my case was until I went to the ER. So went to the ER because I kind of couldn't breathe, but I thought it was I just delivered a baby, I thought it was that. Got to the ER, and honestly, I may have seen every doctor in the ER because they really couldn't believe how elevated my liver enzymes were. They couldn't believe how I was presenting. My liver enzymes were probably about 300, and maybe 2 weeks prior, they were around like a 10. So again, I didn't know what that meant. I really didn't understand what postpartum preeclampsia was, and I didn't know that it can just come on so suddenly. So I want to fast forward you guys. They obviously admitted me because my headache was so severe. Tylenol wasn't taking it away with caffeine. Nothing was taking the headache away. And she told me I was showing signs of a stroke and a seizure. Um, they admitted me. I did my magnesium drip for 24 hours. And yeah, that kind of took me to being introduced to how severe the preeclampsia and the postpartum preeclampsia can be. Like I said, I never really had much knowledge on it. I didn't know it can come on so suddenly. And it was really just like that. I just happened to have my mom at my house the day that I decided to go to the ER. And I just decided to go in. But again, I didn't know the severity of what was happening to me. Um, I think I wish in this process, I think I wish I would have just had more information about what preeclampsia was. I've always understood it to be, oh, you have high blood pressure because of your eating habits. I never really understood it's multiple things, like, so I didn't really understand that initially. So I think I just wish I would have had more information. And I really thought I had great support from my providers, and I really did, honestly, but I just don't think I fully understood what postpartum preeclampsia was or preeclampsia in general. Anna, anything else for me?
Thank you so much, Monet, for sharing your experience. We do have a couple questions for you,
Okay.
as time allows, but in the postpartum haze, it's really easy to second guess yourself and really make sure that your symptoms are something that you feel like are important enough to go to the hospital. So, what gave you that confidence to keep pushing for answers when you knew something was wrong?
I'll be honest. It was honestly convenience because, like I said, I have a husband. My mother was there. She just happened to be there with me, day 5 of having a baby. She decided not to go to church that day. She was at the house, and I just felt off. Again, I tried to sleep. the headache wouldn't go away. It was a weird feeling like in my head, but I just didn't know what it was. I just thought it was like, sleep deprivation. I just had a baby. I just had a lot going on. So I think honestly, just having the support there, because if my mother was not there, like I said, I had a 2 year old at the time. If she wasn't there, I would not have gone to the hospital because I didn't know how severe it was.
Right. Yeah, and talking about your family, what role did your family or any at-home support play in recognizing your symptoms? And then how can providers also better involve themselves in the care process?
I think for me, for my husband, again, he tried to kind of remedy like my headache. Even with me having a C-section, I was on pain meds, but I really wasn't in much pain. So I had stopped taking my pain meds, which were just the ibuprofen and I think the Tylenol. I had stopped taking it because I wasn't in pain from the cesarean. But I think even him telling me that, um, I think you should go to the hospital or um, I was really going to drive myself, honestly, because I didn't think it was a serious thing. I was hoping he could be home with my 2 year old, my mom could be home with the baby. I was just going to drive myself. And honestly, he kind of pushed to take me to the hospital. And I'll just say this, my hospital where I delivered was an hour from my home. I really wasn't trusting the care close to where I live. So I really didn't want to drive an hour to Philadelphia for care. But I just was like, at least if I can get to the hospital close by and be assessed, they'll let me go home. It'll be nothing. But again, I think him just pushing to take me to the ER. And on the way, honestly, I really couldn't breathe on the way to the hospital. And I just did not, it was just really God, honestly. But I didn't realize like it was so serious, honestly. So his support helped me to get there, get the care I needed. We were triaged pretty fast. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Monet.
hmm
We do have a question from the audience,
hmm
from Allie. What do you think the solution is to prevent that in the future? She asks, if you have $1 million, what type of program would you implement?
I think so. The hospital that I delivered at, they have this program where you check in with your blood pressure every day. A nurse checks the line, and I think in theory it works, but honestly, practically it just didn't because if I'm charting my blood pressures, I just don't think they had the support for people to kind of like check my symptoms daily. Like they'll tell you, oh, if your pressure is here, come in, but you have a home reader, you're not at the hospital, you don't know if your reader is off. So I think, honestly, I think postpartum, I think it would be nice to have maybe some in-home nurse care for maybe the first couple of weeks, even if it's really once a week or something. Maybe the first week is twice a week, because week one you're taking your baby to the doctor. I think that care needs to be for mom too, maybe in home. So think that would help. I think just more information and literature out there about what preeclampsia is and postpartum preeclampsia is because it gets severe so fast. And I think a lot of times moms think that it's something that they did wrong. So although your risk factors kind of play a part in it, and I honestly checked 3 of the boxes for risk factors, I just still didn't think I'm like, that's not my thing. Like, I'm not going to get it. I'm healthy. I'm working out. So I think just having the support to know what it is, to not feel shame from maybe having an elevated pressure, just not like I think just more knowledge, and I think some in-home visits would really help with that because no new mom wants the grief of you just delivered a baby, you were in the hospital for 2 days, and that's in a perfect world to go back, leave your baby home, and really have to get care for yourself because your focus really goes to your newborn and if you have other children in the house.
Right, definitely. Thank you so much, Monet. I think we have time for one more question. From the chat, we have, what would have been helpful for you to have heard prior to discharge from the hospital to better understand what symptoms would be concerning or how dangerous preeclampsia could be?
So they did give me a printout of what preeclampsia was and is. Um, I think I keep saying the same thing. I think it just would have been helpful to just have more information. Like I feel like it's kind of taboo. I don't feel like people talk about it enough. Your visits with your midwife or doctor, they're not really long. They're maybe 15 minutes and that's if they come in on time. So it's just so much to cover in one doctor's appointment. And even when you're discharging, it may become like just a part of nature for nurses, but I don't think that I just don't think there was enough information out there. And I mean, you can look those things up yourself, but if you don't really think it applies to you, and again, I just don't know why, but I would assume other mothers feel the same way. You don't know until you know. And again, my symptoms weren't the traditional super high pressure. My pressure at home was probably 135, but by day three home, it might have climbed to 140, but it's not that typical pressure where they tell you get to the ER immediately. I never got there. I got there after being in the ER. My pressure hit 165, but again, that's still not that hypertensive crisis that they talk about. But I
Mm,
think that knowing that preeclampsia is much more than hypertension, I just don't think the information is out there enough for you to know exactly what it is.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Monet. We are unfortunately at time. Um, for any other questions, we will reach out to Monet and follow up with you there. But thank you again, Monet, for this wonderful presentation. And thank you again to our audience for your participation. Coming up next at 10:20 a.m. Central, we have our next session titled Introducing the American Heart Association's Beyond Pregnancy Recommendations and Resources Toolkit. Please return to the lobby to access this session using the menu at the top of your screen. From the lobby, click on the Sessions tab first, and then click on the individual sessions to join. We have also posted a link to join directly in the chat. Thank you very much for attending today's session. We will see you all shortly.